Chosen one, listen carefully. This message didn't find you by accident. Someone very influential has been watching you quietly. Not because of noise, not because of show, but because of your consistency, your silence, and your strength. They see what others missed, and right now they are closer to making a move than you think. The shift you've been feeling? That's not confusion, it's preparation. Doors don't open loudly at first, they open in silence. Stay alert, stay grounded, because what's approaching can change your position overnight. Before we go deeper, align your energy. Like this video, comment, "I am ready," and subscribe. Not for the channel, but as a signal that you're prepared to receive what's already moving toward you. They noticed you because you didn't break when others would have. They noticed you because you didn't break when others would have. And this is something that can only be understood by those who have truly been through pressure themselves. When life started pushing hard, when things didn't go according to plan, when people disappeared or situations fell apart, you didn't fall into chaos. You felt the pain, you felt the disappointment, but you stayed standing. Influential people don't admire easy lives or comfortable journeys because comfort doesn't reveal much about a person. What they respect is resilience, the ability to stay steady when circumstances turn heavy. They saw how you handled loss without turning bitter, how rejection didn't turn you angry, and how silence didn't make you desperate for attention. You didn't collapse emotionally or make reckless choices just to escape discomfort. Instead, you learned to sit with uncertainty and still move forward. While others complained loudly about how unfair life was, you quietly adjusted your approach. While others looked for sympathy or constant reassurance, you kept your focus on what needed to be done next. That kind of mindset is rare. Quiet endurance often speaks louder than raw talent because talent can shine when things are easy, but endurance shows up when things are difficult. You proved that pressure doesn't confuse you, it sharpens you. You showed that you can handle responsibility because you've already been carrying invisible weight for a long time. Even when no one was clapping for you, you stayed disciplined. Even when progress felt slow, you didn't quit. That consistency sends a clear signal to anyone watching closely. This is someone who won't panic when stakes rise. Influential people think in terms of trust and long-term impact. They look for individuals who won't crumble when expectations increase or when situations become unpredictable. They noticed that you didn't chase validation to feel worthy and that you didn't let rejection define your value. You stayed grounded when things were uncertain, and that stability matters more than flashy confidence. This is why the attention you're receiving now feels different. It doesn't feel playful or temporary. It feels serious because it comes from recognition, not curiosity. They see someone who can handle pressure without losing direction, someone who can stay focused without being controlled by emotions, and someone who understands struggle without being shaped by it negatively. You didn't need to announce your strength or prove your resilience. It revealed itself over time through how you lived, how you responded, and how you endured. And that's exactly why influential eyes stopped and paid attention. Your silence became your strongest message. Your silence became your strongest message, and this didn't happen suddenly. It was shaped by everything you went through. There was a phase in your life when you felt the need to explain yourself again and again. You wanted people to understand your intentions, your heart, your reasons. You thought that if you spoke clearly enough, misunderstandings would disappear. But instead, you learned a hard truth. Explaining yourself too much often drains your energy and still doesn't change how the wrong people see you. That realization slowly shifted something inside you. Over time, you stopped reacting to every assumption and stopped correcting every false narrative. Not because you didn't care, but because you cared about your peace more. You began to move differently. You chose actions over arguments. You chose progress over proving a point. That choice alone changed how people felt around you, even if they couldn't explain why. Silence, in this sense, wasn't weakness, it was control. When you stopped chasing approval, you unknowingly stepped into a higher level of confidence. You no longer needed constant reassurance to feel secure. You didn't need everyone to agree with you to keep moving forward. That kind of self-trust is powerful because it comes from within, not from outside opinions. You learned that your worth doesn't increase when others understand you, and it doesn't decrease when they don't. People at higher levels recognize this shift instantly. They've been through similar lessons themselves. They know that real confidence is calm, not loud. They understand that someone who doesn't over-explain is someone who knows where they stand. Silence becomes a signal of maturity because it shows emotional balance. It shows that you can hold your ground without raising your voice or defending every move. Your quiet presence started saying things words never could. It showed that you are no longer reactive. You don't get pulled into unnecessary drama. You don't rush to clarify every misunderstanding. Instead, you let time and consistency reveal the truth. That patience reflects depth, and depth is rare. Influential people don't look for those who speak the most. They look for those who move with intention. Your silence gave them space to observe how you handle yourself when nothing is being said. They noticed your discipline, your emotional control, and your ability to stay centered. This wasn't about testing you, it was about understanding you. In a world full of noise, constant opinions, and endless explanations, your grounded silence stood out. It made people pause. It made them curious. It made them respect you without you asking for it. And that's when influential eyes begin watching. Not because you demanded attention, but because you no longer needed it. This person sees potential, not your past. This person sees potential, not your past. And that alone changes everything about how this connection feels. Most people look backward when they judge someone. They focus on mistakes, delays, wrong turns, or moments when things didn't work out. But influential people don't think that way. They understand that the past is not a limitation. It's a classroom. When they look at you, they are not asking where you started. They are asking how far you can go. That mindset immediately separates them from ordinary observers. What stands out to them is not that you've made mistakes, but that you learned from them. Your delays didn't weaken you. They refined you. Your detours didn't ruin your path. They gave you perspective. Someone who has never struggled often doesn't know how to protect opportunity once it arrives, but someone who has struggled understands the value of timing, discipline, and gratitude. That's why your past doesn't scare them. It reassures them. They see that you've been shaped by experience, not spoiled by comfort. There's a big difference. A spoiled person expects things to work out without effort. A shaped person knows how to adapt when they don't. You've been molded by real-life pressure, not sheltered from it. That gives you depth. It gives you patience. It gives you emotional intelligence. Those qualities cannot be taught quickly, and they are highly respected at higher levels. Your understanding of struggle also means you respect opportunity differently. You won't waste it. You won't take it lightly. You won't assume it will always be there. People who've lost things before know how to protect what they gain. Influential people notice that. They don't want someone who just looks impressive. They want someone who knows the cost of growth and therefore treats progress with care. This is why this connection has the power to change your position, not just your situation. A situation is temporary. It's a moment, a favor, or a short-term benefit. A position is long-term. It's where you stand, how you're seen, and what level you operate on consistently. They're not looking to rescue you, they're looking to elevate you. And elevation only happens when someone believes you can handle more than what you've been given before. They also see that you're not defined by your lowest moments. You didn't let setbacks become your identity. You didn't allow past versions of yourself to trap you mentally. You kept evolving. That shows self-awareness. It shows growth. It shows that you don't live in regret. You use experience as fuel. This kind of recognition feels different because it's rooted in vision, not pity. They don't see you as someone who needs fixing. They see you as someone who needs positioning. They're focused on your trajectory, not your history. And when someone sees you for where you're going instead of where you've been, it opens doors that don't just change circumstances, it changes your entire direction. The delay you felt was not rejection, it was alignment. The delay you felt was not rejection, it was alignment, even though at the time it may have felt confusing or discouraging. There were moments when you questioned why progress seemed slow, why recognition didn't arrive when you expected it, and why certain doors stayed closed no matter how hard you knocked. It's natural to interpret waiting as failure, but in your case, the waiting was doing important work behind the scenes. Timing wasn't blocking you, it was protecting you. If things had moved faster earlier, you might have stepped into situations you weren't fully prepared to handle. Not because you lacked ability, but because experience was still forming you. Earlier versions of you may have reacted emotionally, trusted too quickly, or carried expectations that would have caused unnecessary stress. The pause allowed life to smooth those edges. It gave you time to learn patience, to understand yourself better, and to recognize what truly aligns with your values. During this period of delay, you became calmer. You stopped rushing outcomes and started paying attention to process. You learned how to stay steady even when nothing seemed to be happening. That inner stability didn't come from success. It came from reflection. You became sharper in how you observe people and situations. You no longer jump at every opportunity. You evaluate. That discernment is crucial when bigger doors open. The delay also helped you become more grounded. Instead of defining yourself by external validation, you built internal confidence. You learned to stand on your own, even when support felt absent. That independence matters because when alignment arrives, it requires balance. Without grounding, opportunity can overwhelm rather than uplift. What felt like being overlooked was actually preparation. You were being positioned mentally and emotionally, not just externally. Life was teaching you how to handle responsibility without panic, success without ego, and movement without losing direction. These lessons can't be rushed, and they often come disguised as stillness. Now you're able to receive what's coming with clarity. You're less reactive, more intentional. You know what you're willing to accept and what you're not. That's alignment. When opportunity meets readiness, things move smoothly instead of chaotically. The resistance you felt before has softened because you're no longer forcing timing, you're meeting it. This pause wasn't empty time, it was necessary space. Space to grow, to mature, to refine your thinking, and to strengthen your emotional foundation. What's about to move forward now won't feel overwhelming or confusing. It will feel natural, stable, and right. And that's how you know the delay wasn't denial. It was alignment preparing you for something that can actually last. When influential people move, they move quietly, but decisively. When influential people move, they move quietly but decisively. And this is something many people misunderstand at first. We often expect big signs, dramatic announcements, or obvious signals when something important is about to happen. But real power doesn't operate that way. People who hold influence don't need noise to confirm their intentions. They act with purpose, not performance. That's why the shift you're about to experience may not look dramatic at the start, but its impact will be deep and lasting. The move may arrive in a very simple form. It could be a short message that feels different from usual conversations. It could be an introduction that seems casual but carries weight. It might even be an unexpected invitation that doesn't come with much explanation. On the surface, it may look ordinary, almost easy to overlook. But internally, you'll feel something click. You'll sense that this isn't random. That inner recognition matters more than outward excitement. Influential people value efficiency. They don't waste energy on unnecessary build-up. When they decide to act, they already know why. That's why their moves often come without warning. There is no long preparation phase for you to overthink or doubt yourself. Instead, the opportunity appears when you're ready enough to handle it. That suddenness isn't chaos. It's precision. This is why paying attention to small shifts becomes important. Notice changes in tone. Notice when a conversation feels more intentional. Notice when someone starts asking different questions than before. These are subtle signals that something is aligning. Elevation rarely announces itself loudly. It begins quietly, almost privately, before it becomes visible. An offer that feels aligned will stand out because it won't feel forced. You won't feel pressure to prove yourself or rush decisions. Instead, there will be a sense of clarity. Even if the opportunity stretches you, it won't confuse you. That's how you know it's real growth, not distraction. Real elevation feels steady, not frantic. What makes these moments irreversible is intention. Once influential people decide to move, they don't second-guess easily. They've already observed, evaluated, and decided internally. The outward action is simply the final step. That's why when the move happens, things begin to change quickly afterward. Momentum builds naturally. You may look back later and realize that everything shifted from one small interaction, one conversation, one decision, one opening that didn't seem dramatic at the time. That's how real transformation works. It doesn't shock you, it redirects you. Stay present, stay observant. You don't need to hunt for signs or force outcomes. Just remain open and grounded. The move won't scream for attention, but when it happens, you'll feel it, and once it starts, it won't reverse. That's the quiet power of decisive action. Your role is not to impress, but to stay authentic. Your role right now is not to impress, but to stay authentic, and this is more important than it sounds. When opportunities start forming and influential eyes are watching, the natural instinct is to perform, to say the right things, to act more impressive, or to try to appear ready in a way that feels forced. But that instinct can work against you. You don't need to become louder, sharper, or different to be chosen. You were noticed because of who you already are, not because of a version you're trying to sell. Authenticity builds comfort. When you stay natural, people feel at ease around you. They don't feel like they're dealing with an image or a performance. At higher levels, people have seen enough pretending to recognize it instantly. They don't want perfection. They want consistency. They want to know who they're dealing with, not guess. That's why staying grounded matters so much. Grounded people are predictable in a good way. They don't swing emotionally, they don't overreact, and they don't exaggerate their abilities. Trying to prove yourself creates pressure, not confidence. When you perform, you're constantly monitoring yourself, worrying about how you're being perceived. That tension is felt by others. On the other hand, when you're real, your energy relaxes. You listen better. You respond honestly. That calm presence is far more impressive than rehearsed confidence. Confidence without arrogance feels solid and safe. It doesn't compete, it complements. Being authentic also means accepting what you don't know. You don't need to have all the answers or pretend you do. Influential people respect honesty because it shows self-awareness. Someone who admits they're still learning is more trustworthy than someone who claims to know everything. Growth comes from clarity, not from pretending to be flawless. The more real you remain, the more trust you build. And trust is everything at higher levels. Opportunities don't grow through excitement alone. They grow through reliability. People need to know that you will be the same person tomorrow as you are today. That you won't change your values when pressure increases. That you won't act differently when no one is watching. Authenticity also protects you. When you stay true to yourself, you attract opportunities that actually fit you. You don't end up in situations where you have to keep pretending to belong. Instead, you step into spaces where your natural way of thinking and behaving is appreciated. This phase isn't about showing how impressive you can be. It's about letting others see how steady you are. When you stay real, grounded, and calm, you send a powerful message without saying a word. You're comfortable in your own skin. And that comfort creates confidence others can trust. This opportunity comes with responsibility, not just benefit. This opportunity comes with responsibility, not just benefit. And understanding this will help you handle what's ahead with clarity instead of pressure. Many people dream about elevation because they imagine the advantages: better access, better resources, better visibility. But what they don't always see is the weight that comes with it. Every step upward increases expectations. Influence doesn't connect with people who only want gain. It aligns with those who can hold responsibility without being consumed by it. As your position rises, your actions begin to affect more than just you. Decisions matter more. Words carry more impact. Even silence can be interpreted differently. This is why integrity becomes essential. You're not being watched to be perfect. You're being observed to see if you're consistent. Acting cleaner doesn't mean acting small. It means being intentional. It means choosing what aligns with your values even when shortcuts are available. Thinking bigger also requires mental adjustment. Bigger thinking isn't about ambition alone, it's about accountability. You begin to consider long-term effects instead of short-term comfort. You learn to pause before reacting. You understand that not every emotion needs expression, and not every thought needs sharing. This kind of self-control builds trust, especially at higher levels where discretion is respected. What's forming around you isn't temporary help or a one-time favor, it's positioning. And positioning changes how people relate to you, what they expect from you, and how you're included in conversations. It's not something you rush into or show off. It's something you grow into quietly. With positioning comes the need for discipline, not just in work, but in behavior, communication, and decision-making. Discipline creates stability. It helps you stay steady when attention increases and when pressure follows. Without discipline, elevation can feel overwhelming. With it, elevation becomes manageable. Wisdom grows from understanding when to act and when to wait. Not every opportunity needs immediate movement. Sometimes the smartest move is patience. Responsibility also means knowing your influence. People may begin to look to you for direction, even indirectly. How you handle stress, conflict, or success becomes a model. This doesn't mean you lose your freedom. It means your choices carry meaning beyond yourself. This stage is not about chasing more. It's about holding more, holding trust, holding consistency, holding alignment. When you can do that without losing yourself, influence strengthens naturally. This is why you were noticed, not because you wanted more, but because you were capable of carrying it. This moment confirms you are no longer overlooked. This moment confirms you are no longer overlooked, even if part of you is still adjusting to that truth. For a long time, it may have felt like your efforts went unseen, like your presence didn't register, or like others moved ahead while you stayed unnoticed. That kind of experience can quietly shape how you see yourself. But something has shifted now. You are not invisible anymore, and you don't need external proof to validate it. The change has already begun internally, and soon it will reflect outwardly. The season of being underestimated is coming to an end. People may start responding to you differently. Conversations may carry more weight. Your words may be listened to more carefully. You might notice opportunities appearing where there were none before. These aren't coincidences. They are signs of recognition catching up with preparation. And the most important part is that you don't need to announce this shift. Real change doesn't require an introduction. Life itself does the speaking. Staying humble during this time is key. Humility keeps you grounded when attention increases. It helps you remember where you came from without trapping you there. Being humble doesn't mean shrinking yourself. It means staying balanced. It allows you to grow without becoming rigid or disconnected from your values. Staying alert matters too. When movement begins, it can happen quickly. Things that once took months may unfold in days. That speed can feel surprising if you're not mentally prepared. Alertness helps you recognize opportunity without panic. It allows you to respond instead of react. Preparation is the quiet work you continue even after recognition arrives. You don't stop refining yourself just because you've been noticed. Growth doesn't end, it evolves. Being prepared means staying disciplined, staying focused, and staying open to learning. What makes this phase different is awareness. You're no longer waiting to be seen, you're ready to be positioned. This message is not creating the shift, it's confirming it. Later, when things start moving faster than expected, you'll look back and realize this was the moment clarity arrived before action. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to chase attention. The shift is already in motion. Trust it. Stay steady. When the move happens, it will feel natural, not forced. And that's how you'll know you were never forgotten, only prepared. Before you go further, align yourself with what's unfolding. Like this video, comment "I am ready" and subscribe, not as a routine, but as a signal that you are open, aware, and prepared to receive what's already moving toward you.